Hello, this is a review of the Pelikan P381 fountain pen. This pen is a discontinued model and it was manufactured by Pelikan from 1992 to 1995. It was called the New Classic series, and they had several models: P370, 371, 380, 381, 390, and 395. And they varied from a steel pen with gold-plated nibs to this one lacquered with 14-karat gold nib, and the 395, which is a gold-plated pen with a 18-karat nib. The 390 is a silver pen with an 18-karat nib. So big range, and in the 80s, I guess, thin pens were quite popular, and by early to mid 90s they were kind of going out of fashion. That's when this came out. Wasn't overly successful. I've heard rumors that there were some ink flow and leaking issues with this pen. I didn't care. The reason why I bought it was I wanted to own a Pelikan, and I wanted to own a gold nib, because I'm not usually fond of gold nibs, but I thought I should try this out. This cost me about $60 from eBay, so I figured I can get to try out a Pelikan pen for under $60 with a gold nib for under $60. So came with a box, simple metal box. It's got a simple logo and name on it. Now, interestingly, this Pelikan logo right here is one of the new logos, actually, with sort of the baby Pelikan next to the mother Pelikan, versus the old logo, which just had a couple of little wave type things there. So I don't know why the packaging has the new logo and the pen has the old logo, but it might have to do something with their manufacturing and shipping of. They might have had some extra pens lying around and decided to get rid of them. So came in a cardboard box with a metal box inside. This did not fit in the box. This is the warranty booklet, 3-year warranty. Tells you all the nib thicknesses that Pelikan makes. I think they make eight different nibs. Gives you a little instruction on how to fill their pens or how to use their pens, different types of pen. This is a cartridge converter pen. But before I go into that, I want to talk a little bit about size. This pen is a skinny pen, very skinny pen. It's the skinniest pen I own, except for some of the cross pens that I have. Now, obviously, those are not fountain pens, so you can't really compare. This is definitely the skinniest fountain pen I own. Just to give you a sense of the size here, I'm going to put this down. This is the Jinhao 905. I'm just showing you some of the pens that I have lying around just to give you a sense of size. This would be what I would consider a normal size fountain pen. And you can see the Pelikan is about an 1/8 inch longer, but about, I'm going to say, 20 to 30% skinnier. This is the Nemesis Fission fountain pen. Again, it's the Pelikan is about 1/8 inch longer, but I'm gonna say almost 70. Well, that's not right. About 50% skinnier. And then here's the Delta vintage fountain pen, which is much shorter and much thicker, or the Pelikan is about, again, 50% thinner. So thin pen. I kind of don't mind it so much. It's a little old-fashioned that way, the 1980s style. The cap has the Pelikan logo in black. It's a gold cap and with a gold clip, which is the classic Pelikan bill shaped clip. Gold end on the barrel, really nothing, no etching or anything on it, but little recess or some sort of a decorative form here, similar to the cap. Then there's two bands, one on the barrel and one on the cap here, gold plated I believe. And here it says Pelikan on the cap, which I believe is just screen printed or something. I don't know how long that's gonna last. It might fade away, it might not. Tough to say, but you know, it looks fine for now. So as you open the pen, it's a metal pen, metal cap, but the section, the grip, is plastic, contrasting black. It also has these horizontal grooves on it. I don't know if you can see. So I think they're supposed to help with just maintaining a little friction. They're not sharp at all. They're almost like barely etched, and it does get wider at the end where the nib goes. The grip does ever so slightly, which is always nice, so your hand doesn't slip onto the nib and your fingers don't slip onto the nib. Snap on, snap off cap. Posting, not a problem. Very nice post. You can see here, nice fit. I don't post. There's actually something in here in the cap that when you're posting, it catches onto this little ridge, I believe, because I can hear a little snap. So I think there's something in there that goes up against this. Just looking at the size, the length is good. Skinny pen, so it has a small nib, because nibs are sized based on their width at the section. So this, I believe, is a number 4 nib, and just to give you a sense, this is my delta. The nib here on the delta is a number 5, so you can see how much smaller, 4 and 5. And then I'll show you real quick a number 6 nib. So you can see tiny compared to a number 6 nib, and I really like number 6 nibs. Number 5 is kind of probably the lowest I'd like to go, but again, I knew I was not gonna so here's top is 5, 4, and then 6. When I bought this, I knew it wasn't gonna be my favorite pen or anything like that. I just wanted to try it out. The size of the pen is not to my taste. The size of the nib is not to my taste. But just like I said, just out of curiosity, wanted to try it out. Getting a gold nib for $60 is very, very good. So open it up. Even though it's a metal pen, it's very, very light. I'm surprised actually at how light this is for a metal pen. Comes with a cartridge converter. The converter doesn't run the full length of the barrel, so I'm gonna say it's a normal size converter. I don't think it's anything particularly small. I'm gonna take it out here. You can see it goes deep into the section here. I tried taking the nib out. This is not a standard Pelikan, like a Souvran type nib holder. There's no nib holder, and because it's a thin pen, for a nib holder you need a little thickness on the grip. This one is just friction fit. I actually tried to take the nib out gently, and I was not able to do it. And the reason why I stopped trying a little harder was because of the gold nib. As I was trying to kind of twist the nib and feeder out, I could hear the tines kind of rubbing each other and the nib twisting in my fingers, and I did not like that. Didn't want to damage the nib, especially on a brand new pen. The nib design is, I really like Pelikan nib designs, and just to kind of show you what this nib design looks like, I hope you can see a little bit there. It's just got some line work across the tines, just some simple pattern, a vent hole, and then the Pelikan logo. and then it says 18C 585, which is 18. I'm sorry. It says 14C 585, which is 14 carat gold nib, which is 58.5% gold, and then it says broad B for broad. So this nib, as you write with it, it does tend to get some ink across the tine, so it's kind of, I think they call it a creeper style nib, that there's always some ink on the nib visible. I don't care one way or the other. So let's see if this can do some writing. It's a very wet pen. I'm using this on a Rhodia notebook, and Rhodia doesn't have very overly absorbent paper. So Pelikan P381 with Noodler's ink, and you can see very wet writer. I hope you can see it's a very wet writer. I mean, stuff has not dried out even now. So even though this is a not so absorbent paper, that's very, very wet. And I have an index card here that is made out of overly absorbent paper, which is not good for at least broad or medium fountain pens. I can probably write with a fine here, but you can see this thing is just sucking up ink like you would not believe. Even so much so, you can see some feathering and some skipping, because this paper sucks so much ink that the pen just fills the paper up with ink, and I bet you can see some of it on the back. But anyway, so very wet pen. You want to use it on certain types of papers and not others. Probably more absorbent papers, less absorbent, they'll stay wet for a very long time. And so overall, very good pen, smooth writer, no problems writing, just very, very wet. And if you like that, go for it. Good line variation, I think a lot, because it's a gold nib, and I'll try to show you some of the line variation here. So you can see some of the line variation here that you can do with this pen, which is typical of gold pens. They're a little more springy and flexible. Nice pen overall. If you can deal with the thinness and the small nib. But for $60, a gold nib, Pelikan brand name, I don't think you can go wrong. So I'm very happy with this purchase, even though this is not my favorite pen. So hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching.